Starting things off for today and for the week, Jake E. Lee has revealed more details about the shooting that happened last week where he was out walking his dog. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. He got shot 3 times. Somehow, I don't know how the guy got so lucky, but no vital organs were hit. He got shot in the back. It did hit his lung, but he's going to be okay, he says. And then in the forearm and in the foot. And I think the craziest part about all that is that they found 15 shell casings at the scene. So, I don't know. Crazy. In his first update last week, he said something like, I can only dodge so many bullets or whatever. So he's definitely being a good sport about all of it. But anyways, we did get a little bit of an update last week on the situation from Las Vegas Metro and their report of the incident, which said, officers responded to a shooting incident in the 11,000 block of Alora Street. Officers arrived and located a male victim suffering from apparent gunshot wounds. The male was transported to the hospital. No arrests have been made at this time. This is an ongoing investigation. So like I said, Jake updated us last week. He said that he was going to be okay. I believe they were going to work on his lungs first and then go through everything else. That's when he also brought up about the 15 shell casings found at the scene. And he did note, because so many people were asking, his dog Coco, who he was out walking when this happened. Coco was okay, thankfully. But then on Sunday, so just yesterday, Jake released another statement through the Red Dragon Cartel Facebook page. If you don't know, Red Dragon Cartel is his most recent band. He issued a little bit more of an update on exactly what the situation was that led to the shooting. Here's what he said in the update. Thank you again for all your concern. A quick update, back home recuperating. A big thanks to those at Sunrise Hospital for taking such good care of me. And some brief details about that night. Walking home from our walk, Coco and I crossed paths with a couple of thieves. Dressed darkly, hoodies pulled down their faces and masks covering their mouths. Standing in a neighbor's driveway checking out his motorcycle. There was a verbal confrontation which ended with an agreement that I would walk one way and they would walk the opposite. That didn't work out. I'll probably talk in more detail about it later, but right now I can only comfortably do a little at a time. I think when this first happened last week, the one reaction that everybody wanted to hear was from Ozzy Osbourne, of course, because Jake was in Ozzy's band from 82 to 87, I believe. And Ozzy did issue a very, very brief statement last week. Just a quick recap in case you missed it. Here's what Ozzy said. It's been 37 years since I've seen Jake E. Lee, but that still doesn't take away from the shock of hearing what happened to him today. It's just another senseless act of gun violence. I just hope he'll be okay. You know, I mean, like, it's great that Ozzy reached out and all, but I don't know. It's such a bummer how things went down between Jake and Ozzy. I mean, you know, I think the biggest thing, of course, is Bark at the Moon. Jake has claimed for a very long time that he wrote not only the song Bark at the Moon, but the album as well, but was never given credit for it. And according to Eddie Trunk, I just heard him say this the other day on his radio show. I guess there was some talk a few years ago. I'm not exactly sure when, but I think it was, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. There was some talk about Jake E. Lee returning to Ozzy's band. And I guess when they first had the meeting between Jake and Sharon, of course, all Jake really wanted to at least consider coming back to play with Ozzy was he just wanted the credit for Bark at the Moon. He didn't want royalties, no money, nothing like that. He only wanted the credit, which, you know, of course, that did not happen. Sharon refused, and that was that. And it's just another issue and a long list of issues with former Ozzy members. I mean, you look at Lee Kerslake, who played drums on the first 2 solo albums, Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. Lee couldn't get a platinum record for those albums until he was literally on his deathbed. You know, he said that it was his dying wish to receive the platinum record awards for those 2 albums. And I guess he wrote a letter to the Osbournes as he was dying and all that. They did eventually, award him with those platinum records, but I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. He wasn't even credited on the album, neither him nor Bob Daisley, who played bass, and I believe Bob is who wrote a lot of the lyrics as well. They were not credited on those albums. In 2002, they did a reissue of those albums where they had Mike Borden, who plays drums for Faith No More. He did the drums on the reissues, and then Robert Trujillo did the bass. So just, it's almost like a pop star. You know, I love Ozzy. No disrespect to Ozzy, but I mean, it really is. It's like a pop star. You know, everybody else writes the songs. He just happens to get the credit. All the songs, or most of the songs, say written by Ozzy Osbourne. It's just not the case. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's really just a bummer to hear things like that. And that's really just the tip of the iceberg. Always issues with Ozzy's former bandmates receiving proper credit and accolades for their work.